This video will cover installing and configuring R and RStudio software for data analysis. By the end of this video, you should understand what the R and RStudio software are, how those two software packages work together, how you install both of them on your computer, and how you would configure R and RStudio for data science. This class will use exclusively R and RStudio for data analysis and data science. These are both free and open source software packages. That means you can freely download them on the internet and install them on your computer at no cost to you. The open source component means that these software are developed by a community of people, and the source code that underlies all of this software is freely available. You can download the actual raw source code, you can make modifications to it, and contribute it back to the community if you wanted to. We'll start by downloading and installing the R software. You can download this from the CRAN repositories using the link that I have here in the slides. I also have this link on the course website. Honestly, if you can't remember it, you can just Google R CRAN download and it will take you to the download page. So as you can see here, I've opened up my web browser, and what I'm going to do is search for R CRAN download. And looking for that, it shows me the comprehensive R network page. And on this page, you can see there are links for 3 different operating systems: Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. You should click on the one that's appropriate for your operating system. In my case, it's Windows. It takes you to a download page, and then you can download by clicking on the base link. After that, it'll give you the option to download the current version of R, which at the time that I made this video is R 4.0.2. Just click on that, and it will download the file. After downloading the file, you should install it the same way you normally install new software on your computer. The procedure is quite similar for RStudio. You can use the links that I provided you, or you can just type RStudio download into your favorite search engine. Clicking on the link will take you to a page. There are several different versions of RStudio. You want the one that's free, and you want RStudio Desktop. So clicking on the download button will then take you to a page where it lists a bunch of different operating systems. Again, in my case, I have Windows, so I'd like to download the Windows version. Clicking on it will download the file. So now that we've downloaded and installed these applications, what do they actually do? So we'll start with R. R is a software package for data analysis and statistical computing. It's open source, again meaning anyone can look at and modify the computer code that underlies it. It's a very flexible program. There's a lot that you can do with R. In fact, many users contribute packages to give R additional functionality. There's lots of cutting-edge data science tools available for R. The downside is that there's no graphical user interface to R. You interact with R using text commands in a terminal window, and that can be pretty clunky. So how does R work in practice? Well, if you open up a terminal window on your computer, on Windows that's the command prompt, on other operating systems they do call it the terminal, you can actually, if you know where R is stored in your computer, open up the path to R, press enter, and it runs R in the command prompt. So here you have this text-based interface, and that would allow you to interact with R in any way that R allows. So for example, if I just want to run a very simple computation here, we're going to add 2 and 2 together to see what R tells me it is. Type that in, and I press enter, and I get 4. Not a big surprise there. But what you'll notice is that interacting with this terminal window can be really clunky, and it's probably not your favorite way to interact with software. In fact, when you're using R, what I want you to think of is that R is like a car engine. It's a computing engine, but it's not much else. And while it's not very polished, it has a lot of power underneath the hood. This is where RStudio comes in. RStudio provides some polish to R and makes it easy to use. It's also a free and open source software package. Again, meaning anyone can download the software or actually download the original source code, modify it, and contribute it back to the community. So again, when you're thinking of RStudio, I want you to think of RStudio as all of the other parts that go on the car on top of the engine. It provides a handy interface for you to use R and a lot of other convenient features that make day-to-day operations with R much easier, but it doesn't provide any of the computing power that underlies R. All of that is provided by the R package itself. Lastly, RStudio integrates many important components of R into a single workspace or a single window on your desktop. We'll talk about all of these in detail in the next video, the RStudio overview. However, before we get there are two default settings in RStudio that can make your life more difficult as a data scientist. The first is that when RStudio closes, it automatically saves all of the information in memory to a file called .rdata, and it reloads .rdata when it restarts. That may seem convenient, but the difficulty is that it might impact the reproducibility of your programs because you don't necessarily know what R is going to look like when you restart it. So the first thing that you should do is disable this feature. It's actually two features. So first you should go to the global options under the tool menu and uncheck restore.rdata to replace its startup. This stops it from restoring that file. And the second thing that you should do is also under the global options, set save workspace to .rdata on exit to never. So let's see what that would look like in RStudio. After opening RStudio for the first time, you should get something that looks like this. But what we'd like to do right now is change those two settings to save the R data file. So again, this is under the Tools menu. And then if you go down to Global Options, it opens up a dialog box. And then you can see on this General tab, it's the first tab that opens up. The first thing that you should do is uncheck the box that says Restore.rdata to the desktop at startup. And secondly, change the save workspace to .rdata on exit to never. After doing all of that, you can click OK, and then you're done with that. So I really want to emphasize why you want to make these changes to your RStudio configuration. Why don't you want to restore.rdata on every restart? Remember that an important concept in data science is reproducibility. And this means that someone else with your script and your data will get the exact same results as you every time they run it. The problem is if you restore .rdata on startup, your R session is going to be specific to your computer. And that means that there might be some changes that you've made to your environment that when someone tries to reproduce your work, they won't get the exact same results as you because they can't reproduce the original environment of your computer. To say that a different way, the R scripts you're going to write are step-by-step instructions, but if someone following those instructions starts from a different place, they're probably not going to end up in the same ending place that you did. The second configuration change that you'll want to make to your RStudio configuration is possibly changing the appearance. You'll notice that RStudio that I showed you used white text on a black background. You probably had something very different because the default is to use black text on a white background. I always use the color scheme that I use because it shows up very well in videos. There are some people that also say that a white background might be more stressful on your eyes. I will say that having flown across the Atlantic several times, it's really annoying when the person next to you is using a very bright screen on that late night transatlantic flight. So you may want to change the appearance of your RStudio session. How would you go about doing that? Again, under the Tools menu in RStudio and Global Options, you click on the Appearance tab and Editor Theme, and you can choose from one of a bunch of different predefined themes. Some of them have light backgrounds, some of them have dark backgrounds, and some of them highlight text in different ways. You can also change the font size here. I also substantially increase the font size of RStudio when I show it to you to make it legible in these videos. So again, just to show you by way of example, here we are in RStudio. If I go to the Tools menu and then to Global Options, I can then click on the Appearance tab, and you'll notice that there are a bunch of different themes under Editor Theme here. You can change to any one that you like. So you can see what I have. I use the Vibrant Ink setting, but if I wanted to change to a different one, I could, for example, select Tomorrow. Here's a preview of what it would look like if I clicked Apply, and the entire RStudio session would change to those colors after I clicked the Apply button. Personally, I'm very happy with my Vibrant Ink setup, so I'm going to hit Cancel here. But now that you've made these couple of changes to RStudio, you have it configured and installed on your system, you should be ready to start using R for data science.